Tom Cruise settled into his first-class seat, adjusting his sunglasses as he flipped through a script. The soft hum of the engines filled the cabin, blending with the murmurs of passengers settling in for the long flight from Los Angeles to Tokyo. He was no stranger to air travel, nor to the world of luxury. But today, something felt different. A flight attendant, young, impeccably dressed, but with an air of impatience, approached him. Her name tag read Emily. She barely looked at him as she spoke. "Mr. Cruise, would you like a pre-flight drink?" Her voice was professional but hollow, stripped of the warmth she had offered to other passengers just moments before. Tom had watched her move down the aisle, greeting travelers with genuine smiles, her voice lilting with politeness. But with him, there was an unmistakable edge. He met her gaze with an easy smile. "Just water, please. Thank you." Emily exhaled, sharply, as if even that small request was an inconvenience. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Tom glanced at the passengers across from him, who had just received their drinks. Champagne, orange juice, and cocktails, all served. With a cheerful, "Enjoy your flight." But for him, just a hurried, dismissive nod when she finally returned with his water, placing it on the tray table with a little too much force. As the flight progressed, the pattern continued. When she came around with meal service, she served him last, her hands moving briskly, barely sparing him a glance. "Chicken or pasta?" she asked flatly, without the slight conversational ease she had shown to others. "Pasta, please," Tom replied, his tone still polite. She set the tray down, but before he could thank her, she was already moving away. Passengers around him were engaged in small talk with the flight attendants, Emily included. She laughed at a joke from a businessman in 2A, complimented a woman in 3C on her handbag. But with him? Nothing. No eye contact. No words beyond the bare minimum. Tom wasn't used to this, not because he expected special treatment. He never did. But because he could feel the difference. This wasn't simple indifference. This was personal. The tipping point came when he lightly pressed the call button. His reading light flickered unpredictably, and rather than fumble with it, he thought he'd ask for assistance. Emily arrived moments later, but her expression was tight, her hands on her hips. "Yes, Mr. Cruise." The emphasis on his name wasn't respect, it was mockery. Tom's brows lifted slightly, but he kept his voice even. "My reading light keeps flickering. I just wanted to check if there's anything that can be done." She let out a slow, exaggerated breath, as if he'd asked her to fix the entire plane. "I'll see if maintenance can reset it." "Thank you," he said. But she didn't respond. She just turned and walked away. At this point, it wasn't just Tom who noticed. A few passengers stole curious glances his way. The man beside him, an elderly gentleman with silver hair, leaned over and muttered, "Not the warmest service, huh?" Tom chuckled. Everyone has off days, but deep down, he knew it was something more, and he wanted to understand why. When Emily passed by again, he gently called out to her. "Emily, do you have a moment?" She stiffened. "Is there a problem, sir?" "No, not at all," he said, still smiling. "I just wanted to ask, did I do something to upset you?" Her eyes widened, clearly caught off guard. "What? No, of course not." Tom leaned forward slightly, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "I can tell something's wrong, not just with me, but in general. If there's something on your mind, I'd love to listen." Emily hesitated, her professional mask faltering for a moment. Then, in a whisper, she said, I just don't understand people like you." "People like me?" "Famous people," she admitted. "You have everything, wealth, recognition, success. Meanwhile, people like me are stuck in jobs where we get treated like we're invisible. And yet, you get all the admiration." Tom studied her for a moment, then nodded thoughtfully. "I understand," he said. It must be frustrating sometimes. Emily sighed, crossing her arms. I don't mean to be rude, but yeah, it is. He chuckled softly. You know, before I was Tom Cruise, I was just a kid who moved around constantly, struggling in school because of dyslexia. I wasn't born into success. I had to fight for it. Fail. Get back up. Fail again. And along the way, I realized something important. Emily frowned. What's that? That success doesn't make you special, he said. How you treat people does. She blinked, taken aback. Tom continued. I've worked with people at every level. The crew on my films, the stunt coordinators, the assistants, the drivers. And you know what? They matter just as much as the biggest Hollywood stars. Because this world doesn't run on fame. It runs on kindness, hard work, and respect. Emily shifted uncomfortably. I never really thought of it that way. You have an important job, he said earnestly. You make people feel safe at 40,000 feet. You're the first smile they see when they step on board. And trust me, kindness has a way of coming back to you when you least expect it. For the first time since the flight began, Emily smiled, a small, genuine smile. Thank you, Mr. Cruise. Tom, he corrected. And don't worry, I get it. Everyone has tough days. As she walked away, something in her posture changed. She stood a little taller, her movements lighter. For the rest of the flight, her energy shifted, not just with him, but with everyone. As the plane touched down in Tokyo, Emily approached him one last time. I just wanted to say, I appreciate what you said earlier. He nodded, slipping on his sunglasses. Anytime. As he stepped off the plane, he couldn't help but smile. Success wasn't about what you had. It was about how you made people feel. And today, at 40,000 feet, he had made a difference.